we're going to try something new this year for our turkey. We're going to do a buttermilk brine, and we did a smoked turkey last year. It turned out amazing. So this year we thought we'd try something different. So in order to do a brine, the most important ingredient is your salt, and that's 1.5 cups. And you want to boil this down in water along with a little bit of sugar. Okay, make sure that gets all dissolved. So we're just going to heat this up and get this going. I did 1.5 cups of salt. I did 1 cup brown sugar, and we're just going to boil it, and we're going to get this to dissolve. Okay, we want to add our bay leaf to this, and I did about 6 bay leaves, and there's some small ones in there, so I added a few more just to make extra. We want to put that in with the solution, and you got to make sure all this gets dissolved out. Once this gets dissolved, we're going to put some ice in and cool it down to temperature. You don't want to put hot water on a bird. But the whole point of the salt and the sugar is to draw all the flavors and spices in. So we'll get that boiling, we'll get it cooled down, and then we'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, we got our solution here, and like I said again, we put some ice in here to cool it down once we boiled it and got all the sugar and the salt diluted. This is about 2 quarts of water, which is about 1 gallon. You'll probably need at least 2 gallons. No, you probably actually, no, excuse me, this is 1/2 gallon. This is 1/2 gallon. We got the rest of the 1/2 gallon over there. And make sure you use water that is filtered, so you don't get any weird, chemicals or anything else like that in it. Water from your tap will have different chemicals that the city puts in it to help clean water. So I used water that has been filtered and cleaned, because the chemical process of moving the stuff over to the bird makes a big difference. So I got my bay leaves, we got our salt, got our sugar. I did 1.5 cups kosher salt, 1/2 cup or full cup brown sugar into 2 quarts of water, boiled till it diluted. Cooled down to room temperature or ice. We'll pour this into the bird when it's ready, and I'll show you how we add all this stuff in a second. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so our sugar and water solution is ready with the bay leaves. To that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of peppercorn whole. Okay, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of dry and minced thyme. Okay, we're going to add 6 garlics minced, fresh garlic into that. And then we're going to add in our main ingredient, which is buttermilk. And you want to do 4 quarts, which is basically 1 gallon. So we're going to do 1 gallon of buttermilk. And we haven't tried this, but I've read a lot online. So this is kind of our experimental process. But basically, the acidity and the culture of buttermilk will actually help draw the spices into the bird along with the sugar and salt through that fusion, and then the bird will also stay really moist. And so we want to put this buttermilk solution on it basically for 1 hour for every pound of the bird. And we have a 20-pound bird here, so we're going to do this for 20 hours. And I got it set up so all I have to do is throw it in the fridge. And I got a little tote. I put the bird inside a brining bag with the tote, so I can just stick it right inside the fridge. Now, a lot of people will do this and then put it in a cooler with ice, and you have to go out and check the temperature, because you don't want it to get above about 38, 39 degrees, but you also don't want it to freeze. And so the easiest way, do it like this: put a brine bag, fill all the solution in, and then just throw it in your fridge. But to it first, I'm going to add a full onion chopped. I'm just going to spread it in there, and this part doesn't have to be perfect. And also, we chopped up an orange, and the acidity and the flavor of the orange will help tenderize and flavor the meat along with everything else. Okay, and I got another 2 quarts of water in case this doesn't fill up. I'm going to want to dilute it anyway because of the sugar. So this is the tricky part. You want to be careful when you pour all this in and don't spill it all over. And I've poured too much, so I should have put it in 2 pots. But what I'm going to do is just slowly pour this in real carefully over the bird, make sure it gets all filled up. And the important thing is to get the bird fully covered and let the solution do its work and make sure you keep it nice and cold. And I like adding it to the fridge, makes it easy. But here's where I want to kind of stop and check the bag, make sure I'm not going to spill over the side. But you see how it's just kind of filling up over the bird? And then I don't have to worry about putting it in a cooler or anything. I'm just going to throw it in my fridge. So this part's going to be a little tricky because it's going to start filling up over the side of the thing. So I'm going to go like this, grab the bag. I'm just going to, oops, and make sure it gets poured in there and doesn't leak all over the counter. Don't want to waste any of our delicious solutions. So, but we're gonna go ahead and leave this in there like that. We're going to leave this in the fridge for 24 hours. And that's what you don't want to do. Alden, come hold this side for me real quick. Over here, come around here. Hold this up. Right there, like that. Well, reach one hand around here and hold here. Okay. Are you recording still? All right, I got my 12-year-old son recruited to help hold this up so I don't spill it all over, because this is a bit tricky. But once it's in there, it makes all the difference in the world. So we calculated enough on the solution that we're going to be okay. I'm still going to add just a little bit of water to this, just so it doesn't get too salty. The last thing you want is to get it too salty. Okay, so my garlic stuck to the bottom and some of that thyme, so I'm going to take some water. I'm just going to swish it around in here. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the solution anyway. We got a little 3-year-old helper. Hold that up, bud. All right. Okay, there we go. So I still need to add a little bit of water. Now this is going to look funky, but we're going to tie it off. It's going to work out well. So there we go. We're done with that. Now we just throw that in the fridge. And then tomorrow we'll stick it on the smoker. So all I'm going to do is just pull this kind of real tight. I got most of the air out of it I could. I'm just going to take some cooking twine and I'm going to just wrap it around a few times to make sure I get it nice and tight. Because once this rests, sometimes the sack can fall down. You don't want to spill all this out all over the thing, but at least I got it in a container to where it'll hold it all into the fridge. There, voila, simple, easy. The whole bird's covered. Let the solution do its work. All right, interwebs, we're back. Here's our buttermilk turkey. It's been 24 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust this baby open. I'm actually just gonna poke a hole in the side over here and let it kind of drain down into the box, and then I can just slowly dip out the box. And that way I don't have to sit there and try to chase all the orange peels and the big onion chunks down the drain. And I'll rinse it off really good and pat it dry, and then get it ready for smoking. So we'll go to there, and then I'll add some more here in a minute. All right, here's our bird. I went ahead and trimmed it up a little bit and just kind of cut some of the extra skin off. Of course, you want to take all the innards out and the neck and everything they send with you. You know, some people like to use that to make their gravy and whatnot, but I went ahead and cleaned it up, just trimmed off the extra stuff, and I actually pulled all that junk out before I put it in the brine. But you can see there's a nice white color to it, and so you can tell that our brine worked. So I'm going to go ahead and let this rest in the fridge for maybe another hour, hour and a half after rinsing it really well. You want to get as much salt off it as you can, and then we're going to put a rub on it with some butter, and we'll fill the cavity with a bunch of apples, oranges, onions, and celery. And I'll tie those legs together so they're not flopping out, because if you let these flop around, they get burned really easily. So if you notice too, I tucked the wings up. Hello, interwebs. Now we're gonna get the bird on the smoker. So what I got right here, 2 cubes of butter. I put 4 garlics minced in there. You can't really see it, but there's garlic in there. And then I'm using a rub. And we've really liked this company a lot. It's called Dizzy Pig. They have a special turkey blend. This is also good for chicken, but we're gonna use this for our butter garlic rub, and then I'll rub some more on this afterwards. But you want to make sure you do a rub that has no salt or a little teeny bit of salt in it, because you've already put a lot of salt into the brine. So what I'm gonna do is just take this butter, garlic, and herbs for my rub, and I'm just gonna, it's softened butter, it's not, I mean, it's not microwaved or anything, but it's just soft. I'm just gonna kind of mess this up. And this part doesn't have to be great because you're just gonna shove it in the bird. But once you kind of get it, the garlic and the rub mixed in there together with the butter, just kind of chunk it like this. We're gonna break off pieces and we're gonna work it in under the skin. Okay, so that's pretty good. But what you want to do is just kind of take your fingers, and this is the gross part. Some people use gloves. I just make sure I wash my hands real well. And you want to just get underneath the skin and work your hands underneath it. And that way you can take your rub and your butter and you get it all inside the turkey. But a lot of people use gloves. I just wash my hands really good when I'm done. But you want to get as much of this skin lifted up as you can and get the butter in there. So that'll help keep it moist and get your seasoning in between the skin and the meat. So there, I got it pretty good. I'm not going to worry about doing the legs, the drumsticks, or the wings. I'm just going to get this ready. And also I'm going to rub it all in here, and I'm going to do it inside the cavity as well. So just take a big chunk of butter, and you just want to just squish it in the bird. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because the butter's going to melt and just spread all over. Just kind of rub it in there. It's going to look all clumpy and lumpy, but it's going to be fine. But this will keep it moist. This will add lots of flavor between the garlic and the rub. I'm going to rub all over the skin on the outside as well. Get it all buttered up. Make sure I have plenty up under the skin. This is kind of a gross part. But once it starts cooking on the smoker, the skin will get a little bit tougher, but this butter will keep everything really moist. So it looks like I've done a pretty good job just getting it in there. I'm going to make sure the skin gets covered back up. And I'm going to take the rest. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go all up inside the cavity. I'm just going to rub everything in butter. The wings. Oops. This does make a mess, but it'll be all right. Get the drumsticks really good. Really massage and love the bird. Get some, make sure you get some up in here too, quite a bit. I'm just putting butter. And a lot of people use spray for this on the skin, or they'll use olive oil. And I may touch it up with some olive oil while it's cooking. But get up in the cavity. And then all this rub will be held in there with the butter and help tenderize everything. But it's looking pretty good. So anyway, kind of a messy job, but this is what makes it worth it right here. So keep the skin over as much of the meat as you can as well. So, all right, so now I'm gonna try to fit all this stuff inside the bird. So I got an onion, orange, and an apple. This helps flavor, helps keep moisture and steam inside the bird. And I got 2 stalks of celery I just cut in half. But you just shove it in there. Doesn't have to be pretty. And try your best to get it all to fit. I have a lot of stuff, so it might be tough. It might be tough to get it all to fit, but I'm gonna try my best. So I got the 2 oranges, the onion, and the apple in there. And I'll have to just work the celery around it if I can. Even if I can't get it all perfectly in there, it'll be fine. And then my celery, I'll work in there. So I'm also going to take these up and tie these off so that they can stay up, because sometimes these will flop out when you're cooking and you don't want to burn them. So anyway, I'm going to get all this worked in there and then tie it off, and then we'll be good to throw on the smoker. I'm actually going to cut these oranges down into smaller pieces so it fits a little bit better. I'm going to get all that in there for the flavor. Alright, so I got everything to fit in there nice and tight. It's pretty full. So I'm just going to take these legs and just kind of hold everything in there. But mostly I'm doing it just to keep the legs from burning, so they're not hanging out in the smoker. But it keeps everything tight, keeps moisture in the meat. Keeps all that junk we shoved in the cavity in there. So we got, again, a full onion, full orange, full apple, and then 2 stalks of celery. Hopefully you can get it all to fit in there. It was a little tough for me. I cut everything up smaller except for the onion. I want to leave the onion as whole as possible because that'll create a lot of steam and moisture and flavor from the onion. So I left the onions just halved, and then everything else I quartered except for 1 orange to hold everything in. That's kind of how it looks. And then I did put more rub inside there, so I do have some more rub. And then I'm going to cover the whole bird with a little more rub. And at this point, we're pretty much ready to stick it in. So I'm going to go fire up the smoker now. I'm going to get it as hot as I can get it until we're ready to go put the bird out there, and then I'll crank it back down to 325. So I'm going to put the rub on now. I guess I got dirty hands, it doesn't matter, but... So for the rub, I do have quite a bit in the butter. I'm just going to go ahead and just sprinkle it. And I've already covered this in butter, so it should stick really easy. That shaker side's not working very well. Flip that other side for me. Okay, there we go. Oops. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover, and a lot of this rub isn't going to penetrate through the skin, but at least it'll add color to it, and it'll make it look really beautiful. Give it some red tone to the bird. It will add some flavor to the skin. I know I like eating skin with mine, but you can smell it. So this has got like paprika. Again, it's the brand, it's called Dizzy Pig, and it's their Mad Max turkey. But it's got paprika and some spices, garlic, and lemon peel. So anyway, this is one of our favorite rubs. So, and this company makes a lot of good rubs that we use. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of do that all over the bird and cover it kind of pretty liberally, because really it's not going to penetrate a lot of the skin, but it's going to at least make it look pretty and add flavor. So anyway, that's probably pretty good. And I'm going to go throw this on the smoker and we'll video that too. So got to make sure you get some up inside the cavities as well. But anyway. Alright, just got the Traeger turned on, got it ready to go. I'm going to set it for smoke for a little bit just to get things rolling, then I'll blast it up to full blast. But I just want to point out, I'm using the Big Game Blend. It's got hickory, red and white oak, and rosemary. Now, the reason why I'm using the Big Game Blend is because they have Traeger has a turkey blend that's really similar. I think there's only 1 or 2 different flavors in there, but it has the rosemary herbs, which the turkey blend does as well. But this whole bag, which is a 33 pound bag, is 25 to 30 bucks, where half this size for the turkey is about 30 bucks. So you get a lot more bang for your buck by buying the Big Game Blend, and it's really similar. But I mainly want it because it's got the rosemary. That'll be nice on the turkey. So I've put that in. Smoke's coming out now. So we'll be ready to throw this turkey on here in a little bit. But I'm excited to try out this Big Game Blend on the turkey, because I've never used it before. But I've done it on elk, and this does really well on elk. So we'll go from there. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is, if you notice, there's none of those plastic little thermometer things sticking in the bird. I pulled that out from the very beginning because those don't really work in a Traeger. I think they pop up when you hit like 170 or 180, and we need to get this bird out in here when the meat in this breast area is at 165. So I'm using this Thermo Pro. I'm not really sure if anyone's heard of them or not. I bought it on Amazon. It's done well for me. I'm going to put the probe in here like this to get a good read. And that way, once this hits 165, I'm going to pull it off and then let it rest. So pull that plastic thermometer thing out, the little pop-up deal, because that's only good for when you're doing an oven. Use something that's going to probe it good. The reason why I like using these and sticking it in there is because then you're not going out with an instant reader and keep poking your meat. Every time you do that, you'll see juice come out. A lot of people like to do that because the juice, you can tell if it's done or not. If it comes out pink or kind of a yellowish color still, it's not done. If it comes out clear, it's done. But the problem with poking holes in your meat is you lose a lot of the flavor coming out, but the moisture. So I just leave this probe in there until it hits 165. This is a wireless deal. This is the inside. I have the other probe out there on the Traeger, this will beep at me when it's 165. I go out there and pull it off, and then I can hit an instant read once if I'd like to, but this works out better because then it's kind of set it and forget it. But I'm still going to go out there every 30 minutes and just turn the bird and rotate it. That'll just help the indirect heat cook a little more evenly. So, all right, so I got this up to about 4 1/4, and like a rookie, I popped it open to clean it, made sure it was clean. So once this hits back to 400 again, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it back to 325 and throw the turkey on. And it should only take 3, maybe 3.5 hours. Every 30 minutes, I'm gonna come out and check on it and bring some butter with me in case it looks like it's burning. And then I'll also spin it inside the Traeger just to make sure that the cook temperature is equal through the whole bird. But the Traegers do a good job of the indirect heat. So we're about ready to throw it on. All right, bird is on there. We got some sizzle going on already. It's looking good. I got the probe in there, and it's reading 50 degrees right now, so that's probably right. And then right here on this thermoprobe, it's kind of nice. You can pick which kind of meat you want: pork, poultry, lamb, fish. It automatically sets the temperature, you know. And so I want to go ahead and set it to just a customized one. Well, you could do chicken. Chicken beeps at 165. Pork, poultry does 165. So actually, I'm just going to set it to poultry. Take this inside with me. It's wireless. Put it in my pocket. As soon as it hits 165, we're done. But the temperature's dropping, so I got to get this back closed. Like a rookie, I left it open again. But you want to keep that lid closed as much as you can. But it'll get back up to 325 quickly because I heated it up to 400 before I even put the bird on there. All right, so just past 80 degrees. We've been on it about 45 minutes. So I'm just gonna take a quick peek too. All right, see, it's starting to brown up already here. And you know, and actually you can see the juices inside there when I touch it with my finger. I mean, look at that. I don't want to poke too much. Those juices are looking great. I'm gonna rotate this bird too and spin it just one time all the way around. But boy, it sure is looking good. All right, let's check it out. Ooh, things are looking pretty good. Starting to get some browning here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put some melted butter on this, and just kind of go ahead and just coat some of it with some butter, just to try to help keep it moist, just like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip it and do the other side as well. So I'll pause it so I can flip it, and I'll do the other side. And make sure the butter gets all over nice and even. It's looking really pretty. All right, see our timer went off at 165. It's finally done. It notified me, so we're gonna pull it off. I'm gonna turn this down to shutdown cycle. I like using these fabric oven mittens when I'm doing stuff like this. It's just enough texture in it to keep your hands from burning. But it's not big oven gloves, so I can actually grab onto this real easy. I'm gonna go ahead and plug my sensor so I don't rip it off and turn this off. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab under here so I don't drop anything. Okay, this part's gotta be careful because this is burning hot. So you gotta just pull it out real quick. There you go. Look how beautiful that looks. Nice and brown. Good coloring. The wings aren't too burnt underneath. There's not a lot of meat under there we're gonna get. And I just happen to throw pineapple on here as well. So we got a pineapple that's smoked. So anyway, bird looks great. It took 3 hours and 15 minutes at 325. I did turn it down to 300 for a little while because it's cooking faster than the rest of the food was ready. But I only did that for about 15 minutes. I think it looks perfect. Can't wait to cut it up and try it out.